Welcome to the Your Energy First podcast, where we help you explore and better understand your intuition and spiritual gifts so that you can apply them to your day-to-day for your most purposeful and abundant life. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited to have Barb, my mom, with us again today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good. And I think we're in the studio for the first time
I
together.
know.
It's fun. What do you think?
Well, yes, it's going to be fun. It's a little scary right at the moment.
Yeah, because this is also streaming on YouTube. And if you ever want to watch the video, you can watch it there. So we have some pretty cool topics today. First one we're going to start with, and the topic of this episode is 5 signs you are expanding your spiritual gifts.
Okay.
So, and I love having you on the podcast. It was funny because we were driving over and I've been getting a lot of unsolicited feedback about having you on the podcast. And people are saying that they really like your perspective because it kind of normalizes it. It's funny. I actually feel like people are trying to not diss me and say how much they like the aspect that you offer. Of course, they're not dissing anything, but it's pretty funny. So, and then I had said, oh, that's your Capricorn. I said, you're my Capricorn mama. And you said the goat. And I didn't connect that it was a Capricorn as a goat. And I was like, the greatest of all time. And you're like, what are you talking about? But sure.
That was pretty funny. I'll take either one.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely deserve it. Okay, so signs you are expanding your spiritual gifts. 5 signs you're expanding your spiritual gifts. And what I want to start off with on this topic is just acknowledging that modern society, current society, doesn't yet have an understanding on how to help people or support people and actually just embracing this sensitive side of themselves.
Right.
And I think about when I was a kid, my memories, my recollection is I felt really sensitive to things. I remember crying about a lot of things, but not ever because I was sad, just because I was feeling things so deeply. And you don't want things to be wrong with, your friend, your daughter, your niece, whatever. And so people would always kind of try to fix it or help me, which was so sweet. But sometimes it's like, I just think crying and being sensitive is just part of it. And we're allowed to feel it as long as it doesn't carry us down too far or we don't get swept away in it. So the other thing that I'm seeing, I help people in the Intuitives Toolkit or online or one-on-one in the alignment container or in the group work around how do you begin to understand your unique intuition? And then the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle is how do you trust it? And so when I look at this and I'm like, okay, how did I begin to trust my intuition? And there was never one point where I thought, oh, I can trust it implicitly now 100%. To me, my relationship is actually my intuition is an extension of a relationship with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at it and I'm like, okay, if I look at any other aspect of a relationship with self, be around caring for my body or relationships with others or this work that I do, this craft, that I put forward, like, okay, it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing journey and I'm going to learn as I go.
Yes.
And I think the trust piece comes, the trust piece comes when you allow to let it ride a little bit.
Yes. The ups and downs.
Yeah. And it's funny because the downs, people think, oh, it's my intuition, therefore it should just always be right. And I think our intuition actually guides us to different experiences and situations so that we have perspective or so that we learn things. There was a time I remember where you had asked me, this was a long time ago, to do an aspect of house clearing for your place. And I was getting a no that I couldn't. Or wait, no, it wasn't your place. It was for Helga's place. And I was getting a no. And at first reflection, I thought, oh gosh, is there something wrong with me? Can I not do this? And you and I both went to our inner lights and got the message that you were the one who was meant to do the clearing.
I remember that, yes.
So even when we feel as though our intuition is, I think our minds get in the way. It's like, oh, why is it telling me no? What did I do wrong? We feel bad or we don't trust it. Keep exploring it.
Well, and I think during that time too, you were kind of teaching me slowly how to clear small things at first, maybe just one room or one incident that was going on in your life. And so my training wheels were on. They're still
Mhm.
on, but um, and I think that particular incident was meant for me to do it.
For
And then
sure.
after I did it, I felt more confident.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, my intuition told me that everything was fine
Yeah.
after I got done. And it's kind of surprised me too, because I'm just learning. I'm just
Yeah.
learning to do all these things. So then when it works, you're going, oh, wow, I can do this.
100%.
Yeah.
I think we're all learning.
Yes.
I mean, look at me. To me, my journey's been nothing but learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully it'll continue to be so.
I couldn't imagine it any other way.
No.
I really couldn't. I couldn't fathom. It's funny, it's kind of hard for me to even say this. I couldn't imagine getting to a point where it's like, "Oh, I got this. I got this figured out." I mean, not to say obviously I have confidence in my work now, but I mean, there will never be a point where I'm like, "Oh, I get it." I get it all.
Right. Right.
It's a constant evolution.
That wouldn't be fun.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
It wouldn't.
With anything, really.
No, the guides are kind of chuckling right now too,
Yeah.
which I love. By the way, do you know this? But I hold energetic space for the podcast every time I share a podcast.
That's a good thing.
Why is that a good thing?
Well, it makes me feel better.
Wait, why does it make you feel better? Let's answer that.
Well, because I believe in it, and I trust the process, and I just think any time that we do that for each other or for a situation, it's always better.
Agreed. How have you come to understand that to be true for you?
I don't know that I have a definitive answer for that. I really don't. I think it's just my intuition is telling me I feel safe. I feel like coming into this and doing this for the first time and being nervous. I trust the process. I know that you are holding space, and it just makes it, like I said, it just makes it feel like gives me more confidence, makes me feel like we're on the right path, that, there's no outer interference of anything that we don't want coming in. So,
yeah, that's what holding energetic space is.
Yeah.
You need to talk closer to your mic.
Okay.
Good job. So, signs you are expanding your spiritual gifts, your intuitive gifts. You begin to want to share your knowledge and experiences.
Yes.
And that's so true.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you think about, I had mentioned feeling knowing how sensitive I was growing up. A lot of people can relate to that. And then you kind of don't share these things because you're like, geez, if crying is going to trigger people alone, what's going to happen if I tell them what I'm really thinking or what's really going on?
Why you're crying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's the thing that I found to be pretty cool is that they're like, now I want to share this. Who do I share it with?
Yes.
And then you've got to find your people.
Yes.
Which is a whole other journey in and of
Right.
itself.
100%. Yeah.
What has surprised you about me sharing, you sharing with your friends, those who have sort of shown up, those who are not interested, which, here on this podcast, in this community, we're all interested in this topic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like how there's football podcasts that I hope I never have to listen to.
Right. Me too.
Right? God bless.
Yeah.
So it's okay when not everybody's into this stuff. So how have you found your journey to be with people how have you learned who to share with and who not to share with?
Well, I think that like two of my very closest friends, we've kind of been going on this journey together, which has been really nice because so then we're kind of growing off each other, if you will. We tell stories, we have things happen, and I feel safe telling both of them or you or and then there's people that you kind of, you know, talk to sort of about these things. People you meet, you try to figure out what do they know. They might be interested. They might go, oh, whoa, 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 that's not,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm not interested in that. So I think you kind of find your people.
Yeah.
It's not like, yeah, it's something that we're just evolving into, I think,
I agree.
our as a society as a whole.
It's becoming more accepted.
Yes, that's a better word, better way of saying it. It's becoming more accepted, and even like my husband, your father, he doesn't quite understand it,
Right.
but he's trying to understand it,
Right.
and he listens and listens to my stories when I tell them when something has happened where I go, oh my gosh, can you believe it?
Right.
So he's not closed-minded about it. He just doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
But I think that'll maybe change over time.
And I would say he respects it.
Oh,
I mean,
he respects it, yes.
I think that's the important thing is I used to just not share stories at all. And now I share things or I share thoughts. And, and I've had people say to me, even you at times, like, hey, and you're trying to protect me, right? And you're like, I don't think you should say that. And I said, I appreciate that, but I'm going to because it's who I am and it's part of my experience. Now, I never push these things on anyone. That would be different.
Right.
So, but I do think it's important that people can say, oh, that's their jam. That's their thing.
Yeah.
And then there's people, and you do have to take a risk and put yourself out there.
Yes, you do.
In telling people.
Yes, you do. And I think too, we have feelers and we're like,
right. 100%.
Depending on somebody's reaction,
100%.
You're like, okay, well, they're not comfortable with that at all. So
Right. It's funny when I tell someone what I do or someone else introduces me and offers what I do, some people like run right towards it and they, grab me by the shoulders and look me in the eye and it's like, tell me everything and we need to talk. And then there's other people that look at you like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
So
that's okay.
Yeah, it's better than okay. You really, on this journey, you just develop such a sense of self-love and self-trust that is so deep and resonant within. It's a really beautiful thing. Signs and synchronicities become more prominent, meaning you become more aware of them and they just become a regular part of your everyday.
Yes and no for me. I mean, I have to, for me, it's because I'm practicing this way more than you are because you're further along than I am in this process, if you will, of, knowing how this all works. And yeah, I mean, I think you are. So when I really concentrate on something that I want a sign for, or I haven't really developed it in my daily practice, I do. I shouldn't say that. I take that back. I do have it in my daily practice, but not as much as I'd like to. I'm adding to it every day. So in the past, when I have specifically asked for a sign, I've gotten some pretty cool surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. So,
and I think that's how it happens. We begin by realizing, oh, I can ask for a parking spot or I can ask for a sign. And then they all start coming to you on a regular basis and you can't, it's just part of your flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's what I was talking about a minute ago, where, we know we get up every day and we get ready and do what we do, exercise, eat our breakfast, take on our day. That's our routine. I would like to get to where this daily practice is a part of my regular routine. I mean, that sounds kind of funny, I think, because it's not something I'm always thinking about. But I'd like to be always thinking. I'd like it to become second nature for me, like it is for you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I gave you the Intuitives toolkit and it's all in there.
I know. Oh, man. I know.
But let's go on this tangent for a minute. And don't worry, this community is used to tangents. When you say okay, so when you say you want it to be more of a part of your day to day, do you have this idea or preconceived notion of what that's supposed to look like at all? Like, what is it supposed to look like for you to?
I have my habits, and I tend to procrastinate a little bit. So I have
Yeah.
my habits in the morning.
Is that who I got it from? Was you?
Yeah, I think so. You come by it honestly. I have my habits. I get up in the morning. I do whatever I do. Okay, we don't need to get into all of that. I would like to change those a little bit and incorporate. I know you and I talk about meditation all the time. I actually did it this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, and
How'd you feel afterwards?
really good. And it
Wow.
was just I was kind of taking mental notes from that chapter in your book because I've been helping you with your book a little
Yeah,
bit.
you have.
And I thought, all right, I'm just going to do this because I want to start doing this every morning, just even if it's like you say, for 1 minute.
I think we don't. This is part of what it takes time to wrap your head around how powerful you are, how powerful every single human is
Yes.
walking this earth. And that 1 minute of just connecting with your light,
Yeah.
asking for it to run energy for you, asking for it for some support. You and I set intentions for this day to day in the car on the way here. And then I kept noticing all of these signs and synchronicities along the way as we were driving. And there's so many incredible things that happen just from 1 minute.
Yes.
It's harnessing our power. It's bringing our conscious mind to source energy.
Yeah. I do set intentions every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if you just add the running energy for yourself, my favorite time to do it is in that liminal space when I'm waking up in the morning. And then, you're still kind of getting downloads of messages unless there's a substance involved from the previous night, then our brains are more foggy. But we have that clarity otherwise when we wake up in the morning, and then it's, oh, okay. And, please run energy for me. What do I need to know? Anything right now? Go from there. So, yeah. Simple. Start
Very
simple.
And it's simple to, it's a nice way to, I'm not saying it's the first time I've ever meditated this morning.
I know.
But it's a good way to calm that worry mind. Here, I feel like this is only my third podcast and I bring up worry in every one.
It's okay. It's very real. Don't forget to talk into the mic though.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of helps calm that.
I agree. Which brings us to our third point, which is as you develop your self-healing tools and abilities for whatever part of your life, right? Could be inner child, could be inner critic, could be worry, could be you just want to develop energetic healing tools. You're going to start attracting more of your own healing that needs to be done to the forefront of your experience.
Oh, how fun.
Seriously.
Right.
It's such a pain in the tush. But it's funny because your soul is like, okay, great. So you have this tool.
Yeah.
Can you, bust open your toolkit and okay, we need you to fix this over here and you're ready to clear that over there and you're ready to bring in more positive abundance over here.
Right. Right.
It's such a funny thing because in the alignment container, what does it do? The alignment container helps you go from living on autopilot in your life to bringing your intuition and spiritual gifts into every aspect of your life. And I know clients are on the right track when they hit this point where they're like, Emily, this is hard. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to make big changes in my life. Yes, it is. And I'm like, you're doing phenomenal. Been there a few times. And it does have many, many positive outcomes. All right. The other one is, this is the fourth one, which pertains to the alignment container I was just referring to. It used to be okay to live your life on autopilot, not listening to your intuition. And now you feel the repercussions if you don't listen to it and if you don't start making wiser choices for yourself.
Yes.
One of the things that's so important here to remember is that it's your higher self that's supporting you through this, that's edging you through this, that's pushing you through this. So you're not being punished.
No.
Your spirit guides aren't saying, oh, we got to punish you because you're not doing this right. Couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
But all of this
feels like it sometimes.
It totally does. It totally does.
But I know that's not true.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how far we can be, I guess, pushed, for lack of a better term. So yeah, you begin, I remember there was a time I was much, much younger, and I was really young, and I was like, no, I don't want aliens to be real. I felt like I was sticking my head in the sand. Or I don't want, I just want there to be a God who controls everything so I don't have to be accountable, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And becoming accountable, radically accountable for every aspect of your life, I think that's the journey in and of itself.
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah.
it's a big one.
It's a big one.
And the fifth and final one of the five, you become tired and you're not necessarily sure why.
Oh, there's been a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're tired a lot, and people become really concerned with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I so tired? What's wrong with me? And of course, you should always check with supportive medical professionals to see if there is something
Yes.
off, because that
Yes.
can be the case in our wild world right now. But part of the reason you're so tired, the old you is being laid to rest while the new you is being simultaneously birthed.
I like that.
Well, that's what I wrote down as I was intuiting
Oh,
the
I
outline
like
for
that.
this. I have a couple bonuses.
Okay.
You become overly sensitive physically to things, which means your gifts are opening up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's a big one for me.
I know.
It's a really big one for me.
I know. We were just playing cards the other day, and so much was, you were sensing so much, and it was frustrating you a little bit.
Right.
And I was like, hey, no worries. I was like, you're feeling all these things
Yeah.
for a reason.
There was a lot going on. Music was playing, people were talking, cards were being shuffled, and I was just like,
Big bets were being made. $5
$5
each.
No, I think too, part of that too is when we are around people a lot, all the time, and doesn't have to be, I mean, I'm talking about good things, right?
Of
Being around
course.
our family and our friends and doing things. We forget sometimes that we need quiet space to regroup and to bring ourselves back to ourselves. And I find that when I don't do that enough, and lately I don't feel like I have, then all those outside noises really start to bother me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've said this on the podcast before. I will go into a restroom. I could be out to dinner with friends. I could be at a family event, and I'll go into the restroom and I just need to hang out there and I need to regroup.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
It's okay.
I know that's why you do it.
It's a bad look on me, and I don't even care
No.
that much. I'm like, I just need to regroup. And this is the part about your sensitivities grow. You become sensitive to more people, more noises. You
Mhm.
become sensitive because what's happening is your spiritual gifts are opening up, which means you're aware of more, which
Mhm.
means it's not just what the person's saying to you, but it's how you feel it, how you sense their emotions.
Yeah.
And it's important too, even doing the inner light work, your inner light is not as if it's something you can turn on, turn off, switch into third gear and say, okay, third light, we're going in. So, come hell or high water, you're going to make sure I stay high vibe. Your inner light's also going to work with you. And if you're in a situation that's tiring you out, it's going to let you know you're tiring out. It doesn't get to go past, what am I trying to say? Circumvent your human needs.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
Sure. And by the way, I had to go to New Orleans for a second time on a work trip. And the first time I went was for a bachelorette party, and I had someone else hold energetic space for me because I see a lot of energy, and New Orleans has craziness happening. It's beautiful in a lot of ways too. Food was phenomenal. People were so nice. And then the second time I went, which was for work, I held my own energetic light, and I was in such a high vibrational state the whole time. It felt so good. I could also feel funny energies kind of knocking at the door. So I knew to stay smart and stay like I had my wits about me. And I wanted to stay in that high vibrational state forever.
Oh, you can though, right?
Well, I think you can train yourself to get there.
Yeah.
I think I just needed a lot of support given, the circumstances of the energies that I was around. Plus it was tech work at the time. And I came home and I was like, wait, give me that high vibration again. It's like I
Yeah.
want to be in that high vibrational bubble. So you can ask your inner light to really help you in certain
Hmm.
circumstances, but at the same time, you want to make sure that it's not doing you're not you could never force it to do something that would be against your better
Right.
well-being. And the other piece is there are some people who their energy is refilled by being around people.
That's true.
I have a
Yeah.
few friends like that, and
Yeah.
we talk about it, and they can't believe I do things one way and I can't believe they, and it's funny. We
That's
laugh at it.
that's a really interesting point. And
Yeah.
actually, I never really looked at it that way. Even in my
Yeah.
older years here, I've always just thought everybody needs that quiet space, but not everybody does.
I think a lot of intuitives and empaths do.
Yeah.
So, and my friends who need people, they are online all the time sharing their work, whatever their
Hmm.
work is,
Hmm.
and they're also on stages and they're in group forums and they're very very much in that space. Okay, the other bonus one is you can no longer hold the capacity to keep your light dimmed. It's a struggle. So this one is interesting because when you are empathic, yet maybe you've been brought up that, okay, only psychics tell the future, or it's just your imagination, or you're being too sensitive, or I don't believe you, right? Everybody's going right, but you want to go left.
Hmm.
And there comes this point where we do things to people please. We do things so that we're not ousted from our inner circles. We do things
Hmm.
so that people don't think that we're weird, so that we have friends. And there comes a point you can't do it anymore. You need to shine. You need to share your wisdom. And people are afraid to share their wisdom at first because they think, well, I'm no better than anybody else. You had mentioned earlier that I'm further along in this journey than you. And one of the values to me as a practitioner and someone who holds energetic space is to make sure it's crystal clear that just because my passion and my choice is to pursue the spiritual and the energetic,
Hmm.
that is one thing that is the same as being a parent, as
Oh, of
learning how to
course.
cook, how
Yes.
to design a home.
Yes.
You're farther along in so many things than me. Blake, my producer, is further along in so many things than
Right.
me. And so it's just that's one of my values as a practitioner is to continue to make sure people understand that.
Yes.
So, but what I see so often with people is it's like, well, how do I share this? Who am I to share this? So, really, what you want to do, if that's you, if you're listening, is you want to think to yourself, how may I best share this?
Hmm.
How may I best explain this? Or who's this meant for? Start asking yourself those
Hmm.
questions. And I think that's the most valuable way I have found to share my work, my knowledge, my craft with the right people.
Hmm.
That's it. Those are the 7 things. 5 to 7 things. There's no more. 5 signs plus 2 bonus signs. You're expanding your spiritual gifts. Anything you want to add to that, Babaruski?
No, I think that covers it all.
We did it.
Yep, we did it.
Obviously, there's far more than that. And
Yes.
we would love to hear in the comments what you thought of this episode. What else have you noticed? How have you noticed changes in your experience as your spiritual gift expands? We would love to hear it.
Yes, we would.
Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for bringing your light and your shadow into this world.